Imagine being transported into a world where immortals soar through the skies and monsters can wipe out entire kingdoms. Most people would dream of becoming the strongest cultivator alive. Nianfan thought the same. Luckily, he was given a legendary cheat, the Saint system. For 5 long years, he followed every instruction without complaint, convinced it was preparing him for an unbelievable future. There was just one problem. Instead of teaching him cultivation, it taught him math, literature, art, poetry, even geography. He endured it all, believing an incredible reward was waiting at the end. Then, 5 years later, the system delivered its final message. Host has reached perfection. System terminating. Goodbye. Just like that. It disappeared. No cultivation techniques. No immortal powers. Nothing. The only things it left behind were a robotic housekeeper named Whitty and a suspicious stray dog named Boomer. Realizing he was nothing more than an ordinary mortal in one of the most dangerous worlds imaginable, Nianfan chose the safest life possible. He built a quiet home deep in the mountains, hoping to avoid powerful cultivators and terrifying monsters for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, peace never lasts. One day, Luo Xiu, a princess escaping an arranged marriage, accidentally discovers his secluded home with her maid. The moment she sees the peaceful courtyard, she's convinced a legendary hidden master must live there. Then the door opens. Nianfan is overjoyed. After years of living alone, he finally has visitors. Without hesitation, he welcomes them inside and asks Whitty to prepare some freshly grown watermelon. The girls immediately freeze. To Nianfan, Whitty is just a convenient household robot. To them, it's an impossibly advanced spiritual artifact. Trying to make his guests feel comfortable, Nianfan casually hands Xiu a slice of watermelon. She politely takes a bite. Then, everything changes. A terrifying surge of spiritual energy erupts throughout her body. The cultivation bottleneck that had trapped her for 3 years shatters instantly. In a single moment, she breaks through into the foundation-building realm. Overwhelmed, Xiu thanks Nianfan for the priceless treasure he has given her. Nianfan can only stare in confusion. It's just a watermelon. His humble response convinces Xiu of one thing. He's a hidden supreme expert who refuses to reveal his true identity. Panicking that she's offended someone so powerful, she immediately offers him her family's treasured jade pendant in hopes of earning his forgiveness. Nianfan happily accepts, believing it's nothing more than an ordinary piece of jade from a grateful guest. As Xiu leaves, convinced she has just befriended one of the greatest beings in the cultivation world, Nianfan returns to his peaceful life. Nianfan still believes he's nothing more than an ordinary man. So when he discovers his pond is mysteriously empty, he comes to the most reasonable conclusion he can think of. Someone, or something, is stealing his fish. Hoping to restock the pond, he heads into the nearby town. But the peaceful trip is suddenly interrupted. A little girl named Nianfan has been kidnapped by a terrifying demon lurking in the mountains. 3 disciples from the Immortal Sword Sect have already gone to rescue her. Knowing the mountain paths better than anyone else, Nianfan volunteers to guide them. Carrying nothing but the jade pendant Xiu gave him for good luck, he sets off with Boomer by his side. Meanwhile, the battle has already become a massacre. A centuries-old leopard monster effortlessly crushes the 3 young cultivators. Bruised, bleeding, completely cornered, they can only watch as the demon prepares to finish them. Then, a lone dog casually wanders into the clearing. It's Boomer. The leopard monster bursts into laughter. A stray dog? Seriously? With a flick of its claw, the demon unleashes a violent hurricane capable of tearing the forest apart. Boomer doesn't dodge. He doesn't move. He simply opens his mouth and swallows the entire storm. Silence. The sky suddenly grows dark. The leopard monster's smile slowly disappears as Boomer's shadow stretches across the battlefield, transforming into the outline of an ancient mythical beast. One swing. That's all it takes. A colossal blue claw descends from the heavens, erasing the leopard monster so completely that not even ashes remain. The 3 disciples stand frozen. They've just witnessed a creature powerful enough to rewrite everything they thought they knew. Boomer slowly turns toward them. His voice is calm, but every word carries overwhelming pressure. My master enjoys living as a mortal. Treat him like an ordinary man. Treat me like an ordinary dog. Understand, The cultivators nod so quickly they're afraid their heads might fall off. Moments later, Nianfan finally arrives, completely out of breath. The first thing he does? Scold Boomer for chasing a random kitty. The disciples don't dare say a word. Watching a supreme divine beast obediently lower its head after being scolded only confirms one terrifying thought. Just how powerful is Boomer's owner? Trying to show their gratitude, they offer Nianfan the leopard monster's priceless monster elixir, a treasure capable of helping cultivators break through multiple realms. Nianfan immediately shakes his head. He doesn't want something so valuable. Instead, he smiles and points at the corpse. If you don't mind, I'd like the meat. The disciples nearly stop breathing. A treasure countless cultivators would kill for means absolutely nothing to him. But leopard meat? Now that's interesting. Without hesitation, they carry the enormous carcass all the way back to Nianfan's home. The moment they step inside, their minds are shattered once again. The air itself is overflowing with pure spiritual energy. A simple household humidifier releases dense spiritual aura with every breath. Even the water flowing from the sink contains concentrated spiritual essence. To Nianfan, they're just ordinary appliances. To the disciples, they're treasures beyond imagination. While Nianfan prepares dinner, the three quietly look around the house. That's when Luo Hao notices a discarded scroll lying carelessly on the floor. Curious, he opens it. The instant the paper unfolds, a terrifying wave of sword intent erupts from the drawing. Their consciousness is dragged into a vast spiritual domain where a lone swordsman stands beneath the heavens. Every stroke of the brush contains a level of swordsmanship far beyond anything they've ever witnessed. Compared to this, even their sect master is insignificant. Then, Nianfan walks back into the room. Seeing the scroll in their hands, he scratches his head with an embarrassed smile. Oh, that's just a bad draft. I forgot to throw it away. The three disciples almost faint on the spot. A masterpiece capable of enlightening countless sword cultivators. And he calls it garbage. Trembling with excitement, they beg him to let them keep it. Nianfan doesn't think twice. If you like it, you can have it. The disciples carefully roll up the priceless scroll as if it were the greatest treasure in existence. Because they know, the moment they return to their sect, everything is about to change. Princess Luo Xiu can't stop thinking about Nianfan. After witnessing his unbelievable abilities firsthand, she's convinced she has discovered one of the greatest hidden masters in the cultivation world. This time, she doesn't come alone. She brings her mother, Queen Zhongzai, hoping to prove that everything she witnessed was real. The queen remains skeptical until dinner is served. Whitty calmly places a plate of roasted leopard monster meat on the table. To Nianfan, it's just tonight's meal. But the moment the queen takes a bite, her eyes widen. An indescribable flavor spreads through her body. Every mouthful carries profound Tao insight, nourishing both body and soul. By the time she's finished chewing, every trace of doubt has disappeared. She immediately sets aside her royal pride and asks Nianfan for help. The Immortal Dragon Kingdom is on the verge of collapse. Although a new emperor has taken the throne, he's nothing more than a puppet controlled by two powerful factions, the Grand Chancellor and the Imperial Preceptor. To maintain a fragile balance, the emperor has no choice but to force Xiu into marrying the Chancellor's son. Listening to the story, Nianfan can't help but smile. To him, it sounds exactly like one of those cliché historical dramas. Since the Saint system spent 5 years teaching him countless books from Earth, he casually decides to share a little common knowledge. He introduces them to the 36 stratagems. First, create something from nothing. Spread a rumor that the Imperial Preceptor secretly plans to marry Xiu into his own family and seize control of the throne. Next, let the enemy's own spy sow discord. Have Xiu convince the Preceptor's son that the Chancellor is deliberately trying to destroy their relationship. Finally, watch the fires burn across the river. Sit back and let the two corrupt factions tear each other apart. Nianfan explains the entire strategy as casually as if he were discussing tomorrow's weather. But across the table, the Queen and Xiu are completely speechless. In just a few simple sentences, he has created a flawless plan capable of shaking an entire empire. To them, this isn't ordinary intelligence. It's wisdom that transcends the ages. Filled with admiration, The two women thank him repeatedly before promising to return with an even greater gift. After they leave, Nianfan looks down at the jade pendant Xiu gave him earlier. It's not bad, but I think I can make it look even better. Using the craftsmanship skills the saint system taught him, he carefully begins carving the jade. Every stroke is effortless. Every cut is perfect, completely unaware. He's infusing the pendant with an overwhelming power that no ordinary treasure should ever possess. To Nianfan, he's simply making a nice decoration. To the cultivation world, he's about to create another priceless artifact capable of shaking the heavens. At the Immortal Sword Sect, disaster has finally arrived. An invincible monster known as the Sword Devil is sweeping across the cultivation world, slaughtering sect leaders one after another. Before leaving each sect, he plants his cursed demonic sword in the ground and makes a single promise. If no one can pull it out before he returns, everyone dies. Fear spreads like wildfire. Disciples abandon the sect by the hundreds, convinced their end is only a matter of time. Just as hope begins to disappear, Luo Hao, Qin Zhu, and Bai Luoshuang rush into the main hall carrying a single scroll, the worthless draft Li Nianfan casually handed them. Their father, Bai Wuchen, is furious. At a time like this, his children are bringing him a painting? Certain they've been tricked, he snatches the scroll and throws it open. The moment his eyes meet the artwork, the heavens tremble. A pillar of brilliant light pierces the sky as an overwhelming sword intent erupts from the page. In an instant, Bai Wuchen's cultivation bottleneck shatters. He breaks through aura refining, then core formation, then nascent soul. Without stopping, he ascends into the legendary leaving aperture realm, a level countless cultivators spend their entire lives chasing. The entire sect is left speechless. But that miraculous breakthrough comes with a price. The Sword Devil senses the terrifying surge of power and arrives a full day earlier than expected. The two masters clash high above the mountains. Sword Chi tears across the heavens. The earth shakes beneath every collision. For a brief moment, Bai Wuchen actually forces the Sword Devil to fight seriously. But the gap is still too great. In fewer than 10 exchanges, Bai Wuchen is defeated. Bloodied and kneeling, he stares at his opponent and laughs. My sword intent. It isn't even worthy of comparison to the master who painted that scroll. Curious, the Sword Devil grabs the artwork. He only needs one glance. His confidence vanishes instantly. His knees buckle. His hands begin to tremble uncontrollably. The sword intent hidden within the drawing is so profound that it completely shatters his understanding of cultivation. For the first time in his life, he realizes there is someone infinitely stronger than himself. The revelation drives him to the brink of madness. He demands to meet the artist immediately. The disciples lead the crazed Sword Devil straight to Li Nianfan's mountain home. When they arrive, the courtyard is completely empty. The Sword Devil lets out a cold laugh. If he can't kill the master, he'll destroy everything the master owns. He raises his demonic blade. Then, he steps across the courtyard's boundary. Suddenly, the jade pendant hanging beside the entrance begins to glow. Blinding light floods the mountains. Space itself twists and cracks apart. From the pendant emerges a magnificent immortal phoenix, born from the unimaginable power Li Nianfan unknowingly carved into the jade. The Sword Devil roars and unleashes his strongest demonic technique. His world-shaking aura erupts in every direction. It changes nothing. The phoenix spreads its wings. A single divine flame sweeps across the battlefield, and in the blink of an eye, the Sword Devil is erased from existence. No explosion, no final struggle, not even a trace remains. The legendary swordsman who had plunged the entire cultivation world into despair was destroyed by a decorative pendant hanging outside Li Nianfan's front door. And the funniest part? Li Nianfan is still completely convinced. He's just an ordinary mortal living a quiet, peaceful life. The Sword Devil is gone. The disciples don't dare stay another second. Clutching the damaged scroll like the greatest treasure in existence, they flee the mountain before the hidden master has a chance to return. A short while later, Li Nianfan finally arrives home. The first thing he notices is a strange black sword stuck in the ground. He scratches his head. Did somebody lose a sword? After waiting a few moments and seeing no one claim it, he shrugs, pulls it out of the ground, and happily carries it inside. A blade this sharp should be perfect for chopping firewood. Hidden within the weapon, the ancient spirit of the devilish sword slowly awakens. After countless years, it has finally found another human. Its sinister voice echoes through Nianfan's mind. Young man, do you desire limitless power? Endless wealth? Beautiful women? Revenge? Nianfan pauses for a second, looks around the room, then casually rubs his ear. Was that a mosquito? Completely ignoring the voice, he tosses the sword onto the kitchen counter beside his stationery. The devilish sword is stunned. A supreme demonic weapon. Mistaken for an insect? Enraged, it releases its evil aura and prepares to possess Nianfan. Before it can move, the brush lying beside it suddenly begins to glow. An ancient pressure fills the room. The ordinary-looking brush is actually a supreme, disastrous pen. Without warning, it smacks the sword. The devilish sword is sent flying, and its demonic aura is instantly suppressed. Panicking, the sword slides toward the edge of the counter, hoping to escape. But every object in the house begins to awaken. The cupboard radiates immortal light. The furniture releases overwhelming spiritual pressure. Everywhere it looks, another terrifying artifact is waiting. The devilish sword desperately crawls across the floor toward the front door. Just as freedom comes into sight, a golden light blocks its path. A sacred scripture slowly opens by itself. The Lankavatara Sutra. A gentle phantom monk appears above its pages. Looking at the trembling sword, he smiles kindly. You carry far too much hatred. Why not embrace Buddhism instead? The devilish sword roars and launches one final attack. The monk sighs, then calmly raises a glowing fist. What follows isn't a battle. It's a one-sided beating. Holy fists rain down like a storm. The once feared demonic weapon is pummeled into complete submission. Within seconds, the devilish sword is crying and begging for mercy, promising to convert to Buddhism if the punches would just stop. Meanwhile, outside the house, Nianfan is enjoying a peaceful walk to his pond. The tiny star tortoise he recently bought has somehow grown larger than an entire house. It happily floats through the pond, blowing bubbles in the spirit-filled water. Nianfan simply smiles. What a healthy little guy. Thinking the fish merchant deserves a thank you, he heads back into town. While chatting, he hears some unexpected news. The sons of the Grand Chancellor and the Imperial Preceptor have gotten into a massive street battle over something as ridiculous as buying his ordinary fish. Nianfan chuckles to himself. Looks like those 36 stratagems really worked. Satisfied, he starts walking home. Then, the sound of funeral bells echoes across Luoxian town. The lively streets fall silent. People step aside in fear. A cold, oppressive aura slowly spreads through the city. Without realizing it, Nianfan is about to encounter another enemy capable of shaking the cultivation world. But who is the mysterious figure arriving in Luoxian town? Why is an entire city trembling at their presence? And how much longer can Nianfan keep believing he's just an ordinary mortal, when every normal thing he touches becomes a legendary treasure? We'll find out in the next chapter. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.